In this video we're covering multiplying fractions, and in some cases multiplying fractions is easier than adding or subtracting fractions. So when we're multiplying fractions, all you do is multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators separately. So what I mean by that is, if I write this out, 3 over 4 times 3 over 5, we multiply the numerators and we multiply the denominators. So what we get is 3 times 3 over 4 times 5, which turns into 9 over 20. At this point you look if you can simplify it. In this case we can't, so we keep it as 9 over 20. So here's another one we're going to do, except this time it looks like we can do some simplifications first. So if I write 1 over 5 times 5 over 7, if you have the same numbers here and here, they can cancel out and be left with 1. Alright, at this point we could do our normal, so 1 there and times in here. So what we get is, on the top we get 1 times 1, over on the bottom 1 times 7, so we end up with 1 over 7. Alright, so if they're on the top and the bottom, like the 5s in this case, they would cancel out, okay, and you're left with 1. The next thing we're going to look at is multiplying mixed numerals. So to multiply mixed numerals, we first need to convert them to improper fractions, and then we can do our regular multiplication. So we want to convert our 1 2/3 first. Now if you remember, when we're converting this to an improper fraction, we multiply our denominator and our whole number and then add our numerator. So what we end up getting is we get 1 times 3 plus 2 all over our original denominator. So 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5 over 3. So now I can rewrite this. So we originally had 1 2/3 times 3/10, and what we end up now with 5/3 times 3/10. And at this point we do what we were doing before. We multiply the top, our numerators, and we multiply our denominators on the bottom. So 5 times 3. But before we begin, what can we do? Notice there's a 3 and a 3 here, so they can cancel out and we're left with 1 and 1. So what we get on top is 5 times 1 over, on the bottom in green, 1 times 10. Let me redo that. So we end up with 5/10. And if you notice there, if we divide both numbers by 5, because 5 goes into 5 and 5 also goes into 10, we end up with a half. Now what would happen if I didn't do my cancelling up here originally? So let's draw a little side arrow. Let's say I ended up doing equaling our 5 times 3 over my 3 times 10. Well, what I end up with here is 15 over 30, which I also notice 15 goes into both of these, so I can divide by 15, well, not times, divide, because that is our highest common factor. It goes into 15 and into 30, so 15 divided by 15 is 1, 30 divided by 15 is 2. So we do end up with the original. It's just depending where we do our simplification first and which path you think is easiest.